Hey guys, so I know I'm late for the bandwagon, but today we're going to be talking about the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. I've owned this for a long while, mostly because when I'm doing any kind of a review, I really like to give the product a good chance. I agree with Jen Love's reviews. If you're watching her, great, then you know what I'm talking about. If you aren't watching her, I think she's fantastic. So Jen Love's reviews, go subscribe to her. She's quite a big YouTuber, or medium to bit large size, whatever. So point being, I think great. Something new comes out, everybody rushes to try it. Everybody in green community had tried this one already. And for sure, there is value to doing a very quick review, but quick reviews aren't necessarily for me. I really like to dig in and create an impression that is not going to change, basically. What I really don't like is when somebody's like, I love this, and then a month later it's like, actually, there's some negatives that I didn't really realize were there, so I'm reporting them now. And people might have already spent their money on the recommendation anyway. So I do think that it's very important to give products a chance, and being the first one to try something is going to get you views, but it's not going to give you precision and quality in terms of being able to deliver on some of the other points, like long wearing capacity of the foundation, or how it stores, how fast it goes bad, etc., etc. So back to our Kosas. Kosas is a fantastic brand with really wonderful packaging. Clearly, this is exactly what I enjoy in packaging. This is what I like, and this is what I go for. So that definitely caught my eye immediately. Moreover, this foundation or tinted face oil is a product that does not really have an equivalent. That doesn't really have much equivalency. It's pretty innovative. It's a really lovely concept, basically, of a dry oil with pigment that is supposed to be spreadable and wearable as a foundation. So today we're going to be talking about the pluses and the minuses that I think this product has, and they're definitely both present. So obviously in the pluses column, we have to put, this is innovative and cool. It really definitely is. Moreover, the ingredients are really wonderful. The major oils that are in it is avocado oil, meadow foam oil, red raspberry oil, jojoba oil, some green tea seed oil, and rosehip seed oil. So there's a variety of hydrating, antioxidant-rich ingredients that are in theory going to work super well in hydrating your skin and keeping it nice and happy. There's no SPF. If that's important, that's in the negatives column. If you don't like flashback, then it's in a positives column. And this product is really quite lovely. The texture is really nice and smooth and interesting. And it applies fairly well, but you need specific ways that you apply it. It doesn't apply very easily. And the shade range is not fantastic, but it's not bad for a green company. Really, Green Beauty always is known for having more limited shade range, and that's just the reality of the situation. They do not have the budget to produce as many shades as bigger brands can. However, they do have some pretty dark shades. I have 01, the lightest, so if you're really lighter than me, you will not have a shade match. And on the darker side of the spectrum, it can be dicey to find a good shade match for you as well. But I have different expectations from large multinational companies and from a more indie, clean, small productions. So I think it's reasonable what they put out in terms of shades. It's not going to suit everybody, but it's going to suit many people. So this is a 30 ml, so a standard fluid ounce in here, and you do have to shake it before using it, mostly because if you listen to it, it is a liquid, which really will limit how you apply the product. So you know, this is a neutral point, but maybe a little bit in the negatives if you're a beauty blender user. Do not use your beauty blender with this thing, because it's just going to soak up the entirety of whatever you've put out there in terms of product, and it's just not going to go onto your face. Moreover, the coverage is really quite sheer to light, so beauty blender is going to shear it out to the point where what's the point of applying anything at all, really. Another point in the negatives column is this foundation is not a foundation that is going to work with a variety of primers. It really doesn't. It pills, it behaves terribly unless you're applying an oil primer or an oil beforehand. So no silicones, no water-based primers. I have some clean primers that I tried to use with that were water or aloe-based, thinking that it would be fine. but I'd need to wait a pretty long time for it to completely absorb my skin to be able to use this over top. So unless you're using an oil for a primer, there's no primer that really works well with it. Especially something with silicones, it definitely is going to clash and peel off and just not look well at all. So back to the application, certainly apply it with a dense brush. I think this is the best application that I found. Any dense brush will do. Stippling brush doesn't work, it streaks because it doesn't really blend right into the skin like some foundations do. And also, I mean, sponge, I said, is not really a good option. Applying it with your fingertips, this is my favorite mode of application for most foundations, it does not work super well either. There is a little bit of streaking, it takes a long time to work it in. Like I said, it doesn't sink right into the skin like I expected an oil should, especially with my dry skin. So I was really hopeful that it would, but it doesn't. It takes time to work it in and blend it out. Moreover, because of the viscosity of the product, it is very, very liquidy and thin. The texture is so thin that you have trouble applying with your hands, because then your hands get all grimy because the product is going everywhere because it's so liquid. So I wouldn't suggest the hands. I wouldn't suggest the sponge. I wouldn't suggest a makeup brush like the flat brush for makeup application, simply because it will also probably streak quite badly. A buffing brush or a very dense brush works the best, and it doesn't soak up much product if you're using a synthetic brush. So synthetic dense brush is the way to go with this thing, I think, for sure. Another point that I cannot mention that definitely goes into the negatives column is if you have textural issues with your skin, this will not work well for you, I don't think. Mostly because, you know, in my mind, it was this moisturizing oil that was going to just smooth over any dry patches. No, every dry patch I've ever had is going to be highlighted by this thing quite significantly. On top of that, if you have any pores, definitely this is not going to sit well over pores. Moreover, you can't use a pore filling primer under it to remediate that, because this doesn't sit well over anything silicone or pore filling. So there's that. If you have texture, this is not going to work well, I don't think, especially if there's any kind of textural like dryness. If you have any crusty pimples, that certainly will not work well. I would not recommend it for that. If you have near perfect skin, which luckily, and through a lot of skincare, trial and error, I have pretty great skin, even on my skin, which is pretty even and texturally behaves. You know, just slight dryness around the nose due to weather is going to be highlighted by using this. So very smooth skin is going to tolerate this pretty well. Another thing that I cannot not mention is the fact that this does not set. In my mind, an oil-based foundation would have just sunk right into my skin. My skin would take a big drink of moisturization with this on and just be so super happy. No, not so much. This doesn't set. So it does stay not tacky because it's a dry oil, but you have that dry oil feeling on your face. Not oily oil, not sticky or anything like that, but it does sort of, you feel like it's really not set, it's going to travel, and it does. You do have to set it with powder, but even when I set it with powder, I do have to say that it does not have super long wear either. You know, I have worn it for upwards of 12 hours, and this is how long I'm expecting to wear my foundation. I know it's not everybody's expectation. My job requires long hours, so I do prefer my foundation to be pretty long wearing, and or at least if it's not long wearing, then perhaps something that wears off in a graceful way. This doesn't wear off in a super graceful way, I have to say. On what I'm noticing is when I'm wearing it, maybe but from 6 to 8 hour mark, it's still pretty good. But then after that, and given that I don't touch my face at all, it starts splotching off where I've applied my bronzer and blush. It does, when the foundation comes off, it takes the rest of the pigment with it. and you just have a bit of an unevenness going on in the areas where you generally get wear, like here, if you get oily in the center of your face, there as well. Of course, if you're, you know, doing anything with the jaw or sitting or whatever, it's gonna wear off here as well. For me, this is not a bad color match, so it generally wears off from my skin decently, but the fact that it does take all of the bronzing and blushing that I do with it, this does not look fantastic. So after 12 hours of wear, you definitely get a lot of patchiness, whereas some of the other foundations fade a little bit more gracefully. But it's not terrible. I think this is designed for a certain person. First of all, it's a person who does not have textural issues on their skin. Secondly, it's a person who is within their color range, obviously. Thirdly, it's a person with normal skin, not too dry, definitely not oily, normal, great quality skin, and who is not expecting to wear the foundation for more than, say, 8 hours a day, who washes their face immediately, like they work their work day and they come back and they wash their face and they don't work more than 8 hours. So I think then you might enjoy it. And obviously the positives are, this is a cool product, it's innovative, it's a great formulation. The ingredients are impeccable, really, really great ingredients. No SPF obviously can be a plus or a minus, depending on what you like and what your preferences are. I don't not recommend this foundation because I think the foundation is really cool and the ingredients are wonderful, but I do caution you, if you fall within that specific consumer that I have described, I think you're gonna like it. And if you like green beauty, obviously. But if you are somebody who requires really long wear out of the products, who has textural issues or any kind of acne, this is gonna not do you any favors. I think you're better off choosing something else. If you're looking for a moisturization and you don't mind sort of some ingredients that are a little bit more controversial, still on the cleaner side of beauty, I recommend Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream by Bare Minerals. This guy is also very hydrating. You get a little bit more with it. You get 35 mils. Ingredients, that this does have some SPF. It has 6.2% titanium dioxide. It's broad spectrum SPF 30, which for me is a plus, but if you really don't like SPF in your foundation, it might not be a good thing. And I have Opal 01. This is my color. They have a better, I believe they have a better range than the Kosas, and it's quite nice and moisturizing, and it sinks into your skin a little bit more and doesn't feel quite so unstable on the skin. You don't feel like it's just gonna slide off. But I think Kosas is wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they are coming up with next, because I think very, very cool product with some negatives and caveats that I just had to let you guys know, because I don't want you spending money on something that might not work out for your lifestyle or for your expectations or for your skin type. Let me know if you've tried the Kosas, because what I've noticed is all the green beauty YouTubers just gave it raving reviews. It was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it definitely has drawbacks, so I'm surprised that nobody really talked about the drawbacks. So that's why I'm putting out that video. I probably wouldn't have filmed it if I saw reviews that I would have agreed with and go like, yes, I agree, this is exactly how it performs. I think people had probably not worn it enough to review it truly and long term, because I think those minuses and those like cons column would be hard to miss if you were to wear this product like I did over a long period of time. So I hope that was helpful. That's it for today. Have fun, have a good time. Let me know what clean foundations you enjoy. If you have some on your roster that you think are wonderful and would recommend, let us all know. I would like to know for sure. And definitely tell us also what kind of skin you have, so that we can modulate our expectations. So that's it for today. See you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.